Heading to safer ground. As Hurricane Dennis blows past the Carolinas, residents are ordered to pack up and leave. Churning water stirs up trouble for some popular vacation resorts. No water in much of the drought-stricken east despite recent rain. And how deep is safe enough for a burial ground for nuclear waste?
This is the CBS Evening News with John Roberts.
Good evening. Will it be a near miss or a glancing blow? That's a question being asked up and down the Carolina coast this evening as Hurricane Dennis continues to threaten the eastern seaboard. If it misses, it will be a squeaker. Dennis, with winds of 105 miles an hour, is just off South Carolina and forecast now to move on a parallel track with the coastline. While the area may be spared the worst of the winds and storm surge, Dennis is still having plenty of effect, churning up the surf, scouring beaches, and dumping lots of rain. And for a read on where it will be heading, we go now to hurricane consultant Brian Norcross at our Miami station, WFOR.
John, we have a good view of the hurricane now on coastal radars. Take a look at it here and watch as we go through the last 6 hours. And here's the eye of the hurricane. Now you'll see that it's bending a little bit to the east as forecast. So the thinking is that it's going to take a path something like that. But here's the news. The hurricane force winds extend out from the center about that far, and the tropical storm force winds now are just off the coast. So if it comes on that kind of track, those kind of very strong winds are going to affect the North Carolina coast. If it stays offshore further, they'll get just the tropical storm force winds. Of course, there's some possibility that the eye will actually come over the coast. We just can't predict with that kind of absolute certainty. In any case, they're going to get very strong seas from the wind flow coming around like this, piling the water up on the coast, and in these yellow bands there could indeed be tornadoes involved in that as well. Now here's what's coming up downstream. See this little dip in the jet stream here? That's what's going to push the hurricane off to the right. But here's the bad news. High pressure behind that may stall the hurricane. Once it gets off Cape Hatteras, we'll just have to see.
Brian Norcross in Miami. While Dennis may not make landfall, authorities along the coast are taking no chances and have ordered many people inland and away from danger. Jim Axelrod is in a place that has seen more than its share of hurricanes in the last few years, Wrightsville Beach near Wilmington, North Carolina. Jim?
John, a mandatory evacuation is now in effect all along the fragile barrier islands of the North Carolina coast. 150,000 people have been put on alert as Hurricane Dennis makes its way north. It's become a late summer ritual. A hurricane bears down, vacationers pack up and head inland. Homeowners board up and say a little prayer. Tonight, it's North Carolina, the most likely place for Dennis to make land if he comes ashore at all. Here in Wrightsville Beach, Bubba Atkinson says that's a big if.
Looks like we've been kind of unlucky. Seems like 3 of the last 4 on the East Coast has hit us dead center. The eyes come right over this house, which is just like 1 in a million. So you would think that this one would have to miss us.
The models show Dennis kissing the coast and then veering east out to sea. But for emergency management officials, better safe than sorry.
Don't be complacent. There's too much chance for intensity, increase in intensity. There's too much of a greater chance of variation in the forecast.
Even though Hurricane Dennis is still quite a distance from the North Carolina coast, and it is still quite a distance from the North Carolina coast, we are starting to feel the winds and the rains from the outer bands. The barrier islands are now nearly empty, which is exactly the way emergency management personnel want it. Once it's dark, it is much more difficult to get people to leave. John?
Jim Axelrod on Wrightsville Beach, thanks. People in Charleston, South Carolina are resting easier tonight. They remember all too well the toll a hurricane can take from Hugo's visit in 1989. But even a near miss can bring with it enormous cost in everything from evacuations to emotional capital. CBS's Byron Pitts in Charleston has that story.
Finally, for the first time, Dennis looked mean. Angry 10-foot waves forced surfers in early, as the threat of tropical storm-force winds kept homeowners out late.
We have 5 houses, so we have to go ahead and board it out. We kept saying it was going to turn. The pressure was going to push it out, and so far it hasn't. So we can't wait any longer.
Nor could weekend vacationers who checked out of area hotels Sunday. Hurricane Dennis may miss the Carolina coast, but he still will severely damage South Carolina's $12 million a day tourism industry.
We've had a bunch of cancellations today, and we've lost $10,000 to $12,000, my manager says.
We normally are 100% occupancy on weekends. And my occupancy is so embarrassing right now, I don't know that I want to tell you. But the 6 people that are staying here are having one hell of a time.
Under the circumstances, most here remained in good spirits. City leaders encouraged all to continue using good common sense.
I think it's also important that people realize that we're not out of this yet. It only takes one tree coming across your house to make you feel that you have had a disaster.
Tonight's forecast calls for more rain, winds of up to 50 to 60 miles per hour, a 2 to 4 foot storm surge. Those are not life-threatening conditions, but still serious enough to cause beach erosion, inland flooding. Hurricane Dennis may have slid past South Carolina, but he did not go by unnoticed. Byron Pitts, CBS News, Charleston.
Still to come on tonight's CBS Evening News, the siege at Waco. The FBI replies to charges it hid the truth. The first family's working vacation and why one member clearly has her own agenda. And an aging panda at 28 and the doctors who try to keep him healthy.
Do you want to stop by Dave's after the movie?
Would you put your life on the line to change a flat? Each year, nearly 3,000 people die in roadside accidents. It's better to risk your rim than risk your life. Drive slowly to a safer area. Never attempt repairs on a narrow shoulder.
I'm okay.
For more safety tips, get this free book from Shell. Count on Shell.
Getting those urban cowboys on horses was trying enough. And you throw in some serious chili, we're talking major heartburn. And we were way out there, and this cowboy, he pulls this Zantac 75 out of his saddlebag. I said, "What are you, a Zantac salesman?" He said, "No, I'm a doctor."
The medicine in Zantac 75 is the #1 doctor-prescribed acid reducer. It relieves even your toughest heartburn, controlling acid for up to 12 hours.
Hats off to you, Doc.
Zantac 75 for tough heartburn. Doctors know.
Sam and Margaret are living a comfortable retirement. A retirement free of financial worry. They live the life they want to live. Spend the money they want to spend. And it's all because you left your credit card statement in the garbage can, and they stole your number. So from Sam and Margaret, thank you.
Prevent credit card theft with a paper shredder from Office Depot. Office Depot. Low prices every day.
The FBI tried more damage control today over charges of a cover-up at the Branch Davidian siege and fire near Waco, Texas 6 years ago. The chief FBI negotiator at Waco says information about the use of potentially flammable tear gas canisters was not hidden, but was buried in the Bureau's official report. He called that a very glaring oversight.
I would submit to you that there is no excuse. This information should have been highlighted based upon the potential magnitude of its importance, and apparently it was not. It was just buried in the magnitude of the evidence that was to be presented in relation to this case.
Republican leaders in Congress say they will hold hearings on the Waco siege this fall. The deadline is approaching for Hillary Clinton to announce whether or not she will run for the Senate from New York. The first family is now vacationing and house hunting in the Empire State. And Diana Olick reports the First Lady looks more and more like a candidate.
Yeah, we love you.
The weekend was billed as a working vacation, and today it was abundantly clear who was working and who was playing. As the president teed off, Mrs. Clinton headed off to yet another political fundraiser.
Please welcome Hillary Rodham Clinton.
The First Lady seemed to be enjoying the spotlight. She gave quick nod to her husband's work and then shifted to her own agenda.
And I want to be part of continuing that kind of progress, the opportunities that are available for people, and to really do whatever I can to keep faith with the young people of America.
The weekend should net Democrats $2 million, $400,000 of which goes to Mrs. Clinton's Senate Exploratory Committee. Despite her still undeclared status, she did everything candidates do, delivering an unscripted stump speech, pressing the flesh, and taking advantage of a not unexpected endorsement.
The woman I have shared the last, since we met, 27 years with, is the most passionate, the most committed, the most able, the most consistent public citizen I have ever known, and New York would do well to send her to the United States Senate.
But to qualify, Mrs. Clinton needs to establish residence in the state by Election Day. And again, despite her unconfirmed intentions, she's wasting no time.
Nice to meet you. I'm glad to see you. Hi, how are you?
Mrs. Clinton squeezed in another house hunting trip in a New York City suburb. This could be a new White House for the first family, a 4-story colonial on 1 acre, asking price $1.7 million. The Clintons will now take their vacation to Lake Skinny-Atlas near Syracuse, New York. Their first stop, the New York State Fair, not billed as a campaign stop, although very few local candidates would miss the chance to work a state fair. Diana Olick, CBS News, Long Island, New York.
Israel is dampening hopes of a breakthrough in peace talks with the Palestinians. Prime Minister Barak's cabinet met today, negotiators saying a final agreement could be reached this week. But later, Barak's office said if some remaining issues are not settled, Israel could carry out the U.S.-brokered Y peace agreement unilaterally. Preparations for a UN-monitored independence vote tomorrow in the Indonesian island territory of East Timor, where thousands have died in 24 years of bloody fighting. Both sides are promising a peaceful referendum, but armed gangs fought each other in the capital. At least 10 people have been killed in the past 4 days in pre-vote violence. There's more to come on the CBS Evening News. Another tragedy on an amusement park ride. And where to put America's spent nuclear fuel. How close is too close?
Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
You know, everyone wants whiter teeth.
Including me, and I wear dentures.
Well, now, Polident has made a mouthwash that whitens dentures with every rinse.
That's right, a mouthwash. New Polident Whitening Mouthwash.
Sure, it freshens breath and tastes great, but that's just for openers.
New Polident Whitening Mouthwash actually whitens dentures and brightens your smile. You'll see a noticeable difference in just 2 weeks.
Does it work? I'm smiling, aren't I?
New Polident Whitening Mouthwash.
It's giving denture wearers a lot to smile about.
Ask your doctor about Viagra.
Based on reactions so far, new banana strawberry Nutri-Grain twist bars seem to be creating quite a stir. Could be the banana, could be the strawberry, but we've got a hunch it's the unique way they're twisted together. That's why we did it. New banana strawberry Nutri-Grain twist bars. A twist you can't resist.
How difficult is it for criminals to buy guns? Let these undercover cops show you how easy it is. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
Sharpen up your brain anytime, anywhere. We've got 83 simple little exercises that could help give your brain a big boost. This week on This Morning.
There has never been a central storage site for the wastes piling up at America's nuclear power plants. For almost 20 years, scientists have been evaluating a mountain in Nevada. And that's our Sunday cover, the safety of Yucca Mountain. Can it contain the wastes for 10,000 years?
I bought a farm here, stone's throw from Yucca Mountain.
When Ralph and Deborah McCracken moved on to this ranch 7 years ago,
There's nothing between it and me, except for my orchard.
little did they know they'd be living in the shadow of what is likely to become the nation's first nuclear waste dump.
I do feel vulnerable. I feel a little bit like the first guinea pig in a row.
Come on.
The McCrackens and their 4 Mustangs live just 17 miles away from Yucca Mountain, a site where the U.S. Department of Energy soon hopes to bury 70,000 tons of highly radioactive waste generated by the country's nuclear power plants.
The real question is, can you design a system to protect the health and safety of the public? And we believe the answer is yes.
Scientists are gambling that Yucca Mountain, an hour-and-a-half's drive northwest of Las Vegas, is the perfect spot to store the nuclear waste because of its remote desert location. Earthquakes are uncommon, and the area only gets, on average, 7 inches of precipitation a year.
The only way the radiation is going to get out of that is, first of all, whether there's a defect in the package or whether water eventually reaches those materials and somehow corrodes through it, picks up a waste material and carries it on through.
But after extensive testing, which took 17 years and cost almost $6 billion, scientists found a few surprises in the rock deep inside the mountain where the waste would be buried.
The 2 big things in my mind is they didn't expect faults, they found faults, and they didn't expect water. And they found water both there and percolating in.
We thought this site was going to be drier than it turned out to be.
Those findings have Ralph McCracken worried that the radiation will eventually migrate to his farm, contaminating people, animals, and his crop of pistachio nuts, which are sold across the country.
They are expecting a leaky mountain, they're expecting leaky containers, and they're expecting us to survive it somehow.
Environmentalist Anna Aurelio says more than 219 groups have called for the government to scrap the Yucca project.
For the time being, we think that the best thing to do is to store this stuff on site where it's already being stored until we can figure out a safe, permanent place to put it.
But time is running out. Of the 103 operating nuclear power plants, 18 don't have any more room in underground pools to store spent fuel. By the end of 2004, 32 more will have to move to above-ground storage. According to industry officials, only a project like Yucca Mountain will solve the issue once and for all.
Nuclear power plants and the fuel facilities, the used fuel storage facilities, were never designed for long-term storage of the used fuel. Yet the responsible thing is to put the used fuel in a central repository.
Ralph McCracken isn't happy with that solution, and he's already thinking of moving far away.
If we're successful in having a kid or 2, how long do we stay here?
Since he and Debbie are trying to have a baby.
Everybody wants their children to have the best. You want to leave them your best legacy. And I don't know that that mountain is your best legacy over there.
The Secretary of Energy is to recommend to the President by the year 2001 whether Yucca Mountain is a go or no-go. The $43 billion price tag would be financed by a tax on nuclear power.
You already know how important calcium is for your bones, but did you know that 85% of women still don't get enough? So start your day with Total. It's the only leading cereal that's an excellent source of calcium, even before adding milk. In fact, Total has more calcium than the milk itself. No other leading cereal comes close. Simple, low-fat, delicious. So good, you can feel it in your bones. Total Raisin Bran, Total Corn Flakes. One bowl, one great source of calcium.
Staples presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's our salute to leaders on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies for your school, plus a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, visit a Staples near you. Register at www.staples.com or send your entry to Staples Coach of the Week. Watch NFL Today Sundays on CBS for winners.
When it comes to your health, never compromise, even when choosing a laxative. You need one that's strong enough to work overnight, but also gentle. Try doctor-recommended Dulcolax. It's both strong and gentle. It even has a special comfort coating to protect your stomach. In fact, doctors recommend Dulcolax most, more than Correctol and Senecot combined. Don't compromise. Get strong, get gentle, get doctor-recommended Dulcolax. And for strong and gentle relief in minutes, get Dulcolax suppositories.
Countless mornings at the lake. This race could be our big break. Just love that mountain grown groove. Now I leave my crew in rhythm we row as one, racing towards the rising sun. The best part of waking up is Folgers and your cup.
The third fatal amusement park accident in a week has taken the lives of a woman and her 8-year-old daughter. They were on a brand new roller coaster in Ocean City, New Jersey, near Atlantic City. Police say they were killed when their car rolled backwards and hit another car that was being loaded. The cause is being investigated. Wildfires in the west have claimed a second life. A firefighter was killed near Santa Barbara, battling a blaze in the Los Padres National Forest. Fire crews in 5 states are making progress in most areas, but 3 new fires east of Los Angeles are threatening some homes. The tiny town of Smith Ranch has been ordered to evacuate. It's dry and parched over much of the eastern United States as well, and that has many communities watching the water they use. They're grateful for recent downpours, but has the deluge made a difference? Cheryl Atkinson has the story.
In the parched mid-Atlantic, when it finally rained last week, it poured. Some places got 4 inches in 2 hours.
The result, a rising river and new greenery peeking out for the first time in weeks. It was enough to make a lot of people here think the drought had been quenched.
But listen to the denials from the headquarters of the regional water utility.
No, the drought is not over. It is not over. Just as the drought didn't happen yesterday, the drought is not over tomorrow.
And it's the same story from the chief executive in Maryland's very dry Montgomery County.
What did that big rainfall do for the drought?
Well, it provided some temporary relief.
Relief, not a cure. The Potomac River, rushing with water, is still way below normal. The water line is supposed to be above the light-colored rock.
A lot of these rocks down here would not be exposed in a normal flow of the river.
Families like the Filoramos, who've been living with mandatory restrictions for a month now, are beginning to grasp the lingering nature of this drought and the limits on water use.
I'd rather be safe than sorry. We need about 25 to 30 more days of rain, just like the one we had this last week. So if we can get that much rain, again, a steady soaking kind of rain, that'll make all the difference in the world.
But that may be just wishful thinking. Forecasters expect the drought to continue into the winter and say even a brush with hurricanes now making their way up the coast might not be enough to chase away the most serious dry spell in 70 years. Cheryl Atkinson, CBS News, Potomac, Maryland.
Next up on tonight's CBS Evening News, what's good for people is good for animals. Health care for aging residents of our country's zoos.
Staples presents the Staples Coach of the Week program. It's our salute to leaders on the field and in the classroom. And it's your chance to win $5,000 in school supplies for your school, plus a visit from your local NFL head coach. To enter, visit a Staples near you. Register at www.staples.com or send your entry to Staples Coach of the Week. Watch NFL Today Sundays on CBS for winners.
What should you do if you're having a heart attack? First, call an ambulance, then take Bear aspirin. Now Bear may help stop you from dying when taken during a heart attack. Talk to your doctor now. Bear, powerful pain relief, and so much more.
Look at all these laxatives. They all contain stimulants. That one says it may cause cramps. Only Phillips is stimulant-free. Nothing's more effective, nothing safer.
So I've heard. Phillips, safe, effective relief without harsh stimulants.
Right now, LensCrafters is having an end-of-summer sun sale. You can get a complete pair of prescription sunglasses for only $99 in your choice of hundreds of the latest styles. The end-of-summer sun sale. On now at LensCrafters. Hurry, sale ends soon.
Introducing new Smooth Mint Scope. It keeps your breath feeling clean and fresh longer. It kills bad breath germs, and now its tingle lasts and lasts. Because finding true love is just a matter of time. So be ready with new Smooth Mint Scope. Feel the tingle longer.
It's barbecue season, the busiest time of the year for your deck, which is why you should protect it with Thompson's Wood Protector. Nothing we make works harder, longer. For rain, sun, mildew, or low-flying meat, Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
Safety in the skies. When you get on a plane, do you really know who's maintaining it? Often it's an outside contractor. But who's watching them?
The FAA cannot be looking over every inspector's shoulder. They can't be looking over the shoulder of every mechanic.
So how risky is that idea? The story Monday on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Arthritis, eye trouble, weakness, just some of the health problems of getting older for humans and animals. Eric Engberg tells us how America's aging zoo population is posing new challenges for veterinary medicine.
The National Zoo's most famous resident is also one of its oldest. Few pandas in the wild live as long as Xing Xing, who is 28. For zoo veterinarian Lucy Spellman, Xing Xing is only one of dozens of elderly patients she tends on daily rounds. Nancy the elephant, who is 45, has a serious infection in one of her massive toes.
Good girl. Okay.
Almost every day, Spellman x-rays Nancy to see if antibiotics injected into the bone marrow will cure the problem. The unhappy finding today, no change.
It's very, very difficult to treat, and if you decide to treat, you're deciding to put an animal through an awful lot.
The doctor rules out surgery. It's too risky at Nancy's age. At zoos across the country, vets are pushing the boundaries of animal medicine. Animals have never lived so long, and vets like Dr. Spellman are encountering new forms of geriatric diseases for which they've had to invent treatments. Washington's National Zoo has a policy of keeping its animals on display, not replacing them even as they age. The Siberian tiger suffers from weak legs. Norman, the sea lion, has eye problems.
So, it's better.
There's an old lizard who's lost weight.
You can see he's pretty thin.
Elderly wolves are bothered by arthritis. Today, Dr. Spellman will examine Cherokee while she has her annual dental checkup, courtesy of dentists who volunteer their time.
This tooth should be looking like this, but instead it was broken off, so the nerve was exposed.
The availability of high-tech medical care, everything from root canals to organ transplants, contributes to longer lives. Another big factor, the high level of personal care.
It reflects years of being fed right, housed right. All of that together is allowing these creatures to live longer, and that's a good thing.
Xing Xing gets his arthritis medicine in a blueberry muffin. Misu the gorilla enjoys high-fat cottage cheese.
See, it wasn't so bad today.
Nancy is rewarded with special fruits. Many of the keepers have cared for the same animals for years. They're now preparing themselves emotionally for the inevitable.
He is a marvelous animal, and I love him very much. I hope I can age as gracefully as he does. I really do.
For zoo visitors, there's much to be learned and enjoyed at any age. That's true for animal and human alike. Eric Engberg, CBS News, Washington.
I'll take my medicine in a blueberry muffin any day. That's the CBS Evening News. Later on CBS 60 Minutes, how criminals can buy all the firepower they want in gun stores. Tomorrow on This Morning, as Dennis lurks, how to make your house hurricane-proof. I'm John Roberts, CBS News in New York. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night and a great week.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News. How difficult is it for criminals to buy guns? Let these undercover cops show you how easy it is. Tonight on 60 Minutes.
Experience you can trust. CBS News.